Okay, so this is your previous one. So last time the average speed was about 116.
Yep.
And then swing time was slightly less than 900 milliseconds here. But obviously for your height, you're not generating enough speed here.
No.
If you generate this much for your height, then this goes way up here.
Right.
Top here, so you had a tendency of fairly outward hand motion plane,
Right.
over 8 degrees, and then also outward swing plane here.
Right. I think the first time it was even more.
Now here, so you had tendency of going high up and then bringing down too much. So you had a lot of layoff at the top of action here.
We're looking just at driver.
Yeah.
Now, right?
So this goes below your swing plane here.
Right.
So it gave you the reverse spiral swing pattern here.
Right.
The slope of the swing plane was 54.5 degrees on the average. Center of mass motion, more up and down motion than the horizontal motion here. Pelvis slide over mass average, but less here at impact. Then X factor, continuous increase, but it's below man's average. Kinematic sequence, generally it's central to a peripheral, but a little bit of cluster transition for the arms and the club here. And then this pink line shows that you have tendency of early release.
Right.
And the wrist angular velocity is not close to the man's average. So you can use the wrist a bit more or more efficiently here. And then...
And that's obviously tied to the clustered sequencing.
So yeah, using your muscles a lot, but and then also you had tendency of having a lot of wrist cock, but interestingly, you're just letting it go from the beginning instead of coming down here and then let it go.
Right.
So when you delay the release and then let it go, then at impact you will see a lot higher wrist angular velocity, but yours is below man's average.
Interesting.
Yep. And then in terms of interacting with the ground here, we start with more force acting on the lead foot here. And then at top of action, the two forces are almost equal to each other here. And then you have a large force, large maximum force here. With that, you generate a good amount of torque here. But you're losing this difference, force difference between the two sides toward the top of action here. So these were the things we saw. Then keep that in mind. And then let's take a look at today's. So today the clever speed came as 119, so it increased by about 3 miles per hour. But you have this 120, so it seems generally your speed has increased.
Yeah, that fits with what I've seen.
And in terms of time here, it's now close to 1,000. So you can go a bit faster than this. Yeah, but yeah, so now we have a faster speed, and the shape of the backswing clever speed pattern looks good. So you have the peak after the midpoint here in the backswing, so which is good. But then let's go to the top here. So this time now, for the hand motion plane, it's less outward. So it's more aligned toward the target. The average is now 2 degrees outward.
For the hands.
So yeah, so your swing plane still remains the same, but your hand motion plane is now less outward.
Right.
So the two are better matched here, about 2 degrees difference.
Does it look to you like the pattern, like the path moves more right with my hands as the club gets longer?
Generally, the club head, in terms of club head path, when you have longer club, then it tends to go outward. So between the driver and your iron condition, generally the difference is about 4 degrees.
Right.
So 2 to 4 degrees. And then, so generally in the iron swing, you have the swing plane going toward the target, but in the driver, you go a bit outward because you're hitting up.
Right.
But now you adjusted your hand motion pad a little bit, so this is good. You need to match these. That's easier to control the direction.
Right.
And then, so when we align everything along the swing plane, now it looks simpler. Still, you go high up and then bring it down. So you do have a layoff here. Still layoff at the top of action here.
Mm-hmm.
However, this is less compared to
Right.
the previous one. It's
That's a lot
simpler.
better.
And it does not go below the swing plane here.
Oh, that's a big one.
Swing plane, the slope is now 53.5 degrees, so 1 degree flatter than the previous.
Right.
Still, I think that this is a bit too steep for your height.
Right.
So for your height, about maybe 51 degrees. So it's a slightly steeper than
Right.
What's expected for your height. But one thing you can do is you can keep the ball a bit away from your body.
Yeah, because I've tried to move it a lot further away, and it feels like I feel like Mo Norman. Like, I feel like it's like this, but you see it on video.
So easy, natural wrist position here.
Yeah.
But so the swing plane is just 1 degree flatter than the previous, and then the swing motion is now a lot simpler.
Right.
In terms of motion happening, relative to the swing plane, now it's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
Which is good. And then center of mass motion largely looks similar, but so now you're dropping this more and then up, which is good. So still you need to have a bit more lateral motion, but
Right.
The one thing I noticed this time is that at the setup position, you keep your hands this side quite a bit. So you see your shoulders are leaning,
Right.
inclining more, and then but your pelvis is close to here. This is a bit too much. So you're keeping the center of mass this way quite a bit at the setup position.
Right.
So you're shifting your body already. You're shifting your
Yeah, because I feel like with the hands being, I feel like standing further away and then having my hands more forward makes it a lot easier for the club to start back. Like where my tendency has always been to have the club get way outside my hands, I feel like the combination of my hands more forward and higher makes it way easier for the club to come back.
Yeah, but the problem is
plane.
that when you do that, then you're developing a pattern like a stack and tilt.
Right, because I just can't get enough lateral movement away from the target.
So the key in the backswing is using awakening your trail leg.
Right.
But when you keep your body more this way here, then you are using this less and less.
So is that exclusive? Like, so can I keep the hand position but then shift where my pelvis is at the dress?
So currently what's happening is your body is here, but so your pelvis is closed here.
Right.
You're in this position here. But imagine that you have a trigger motion here. Go trigger and then active backswing here.
Yeah.
You don't need this kind of complex body posture here.
Right.
So you can have a little bit more force on this side and then bring this here.
You'd almost
But-
but your hips are open there, and then you can.
But
close
when you
them.
start the backswing, you will shift the pelvis first
Right.
and then throw this.
That makes
But
sense.
because you always try to lift this here, it goes high here,
Right.
right? Using your arms and try to lift this here. Now it's less, but still you have to, the first thing you have to do in the backswing is just shift laterally and then turn around the right side.
Right. So if I were to keep that hand position, but then almost let my hips start a little bit open.
Yeah, so
And
you
then
can go slide this way and then start this way
Right.
here.
So that first move is actually just loading this way into the ball of my right foot and shifting, and then it's the turn from there.
So this is more becoming arm-driven swing.
Right.
So yeah, this posture, and then also is promoting this scoliosis type alignment here.
That's not what we want.
Your body is already
My
showing.
body is, yeah, it's very, my left
Yeah,
shoulder
left side
much
is higher.
Yeah.
It's because you always go this way, and then, particularly in this one, you're shifting here, and then the pelvis is closed here. You're going this position. That it even more promotes
Right.
the posture here. But this is a bit, something. When you go to this position, it's got to be from the more neutral position, and then you have this trigger motion, body trigger going this way, and then start
Right.
going back.
So it almost
Then
makes-
this is okay.
Right.
Yeah. So you're more assuming more symmetric position, but then you go slightly this way, and then going actively.
Right,
This
that
is
makes
okay, but
sense.
you're from the beginning. You're starting from
It's
this
like
position.
static here and then going. So can I ask, like I know that like if I stand up, it's very clear how much higher this shoulder is. And like I feel like my shoulders slightly twisted closed and my hips are slightly twisted open. And I'm sort of in this like, almost like a low hip and the high shoulder on this side. Is like trying to do, I mean, it's hard to offset obviously, but just trying to get out of that in, with like
So-
through like workouts and whatnot. Is
So
that
use
a
use
workout to pursue?
like as if you are swinging in the opposite direction, as if you are a lefty.
Right,
Use that motion. So when you just exercise,
right,
try to go against the opposite motion.
yeah,
But ultimately, you have to repeat the swing back and forth, and then try to sort of regain more symmetry in the motion.
right. So it's almost just because my swing itself is so asymmetric.
So what you're trying to do is from here, just to bring this up here, try to hit hard with
Yes.
your
Yeah,
upper
it's
body.
my big muscles.
But still, your speed is high, but it's pretty much coming from the upper body.
Right,
That's why your wrist contribution is low. It's just hitting hard, but with the less effort, if you use your wrists better, then you can gain a lot more speed.
right.
And when you use the wrist, then the main action is here. You don't need to put a lot of effort in the
Right.
follow through.
Does it look like the wrist action is more effortful with the driver? Because like with my irons, it's interesting because like I can swing quite smoothly with them, and like on my foresight, like my 8-iron is regularly like now like 102, and last year it was like 95 and a half, and then 5-iron is like 107, 108, and last year it was like 101. But driver's only like driver's got a little bit faster. But
Yep. So you have
irons is more.
increased the speed, but one thing I saw today was that for your wedge shot, for example,
Yeah.
could be because you were not fully warmed up, but it was not consistent.
No,
Sometimes you had the fast shot, sometimes you had
Yeah.
the thin shot.
Yeah, today like I've tried to be like well rested and like feel good physically today, but like I didn't feel like I swung it at my best, unfortunately. But in general, like the last couple of months, like my iron play has been so much better than it's ever been before.
So you have to ride the rhythm more than anything.
Right.
You should be able to feel the flow of motion here. But for that, you have to let your body move
Right.
laterally and also vertically.
Right.
But when you start from this position here, you're already making a strong statement that you're not going to rely on the flow, but rather your muscles.
Right. That makes sense.
So you have to sort of always listen to music, and that gives you reasonable tempo and rhythm,
Right.
and you try to feel the music.
I can do that.
You know, when the musicians, when they play cello, for example, then they breathe with that rhythm, right?
Right.
Breathe, and then the body motion.
Right.
So you have to be really sensitive to rhythm.
Right.
And so when you listen to music, then something that gives you reasonable tempo, and with that you feel the rhythm always. And then try to move the body.
Yeah.
The key in the golf swing is a change of direction.
Right.
In order to have a change of direction, that you have to let your body move.
Right.
And then this applies to both horizontal motion and the vertical motion.
Right.
Okay? So have a reasonable flow and then let it go. Okay, a continuous motion with more symmetric motion, and then the last one can be really
Right.
rigorous here, right?
Yeah.
But as you repeat this motion, try to have a more symmetric motion here rather than
Right.
This type of motion.
Yeah.
So it's easy to turn here when you have more force on this side. However, that will, when you repeat this again and again, that in the relatively long period of time, then you are pretty much relying on the little leg only, not much here. So it's like when you walk, instead of just walking with the more symmetric motion,
Yeah.
you're walking like this.
Yes. That looks less athletic.
So you are into that cycle right now, and then you need to get out of that.
And can I just ask, we were talking about the total swing time. What would be a good target total swing time for me?
What, 900?
900? Because when I practice putting, I make quite an effort to keep the total stroke time consistent. And so I have a song that is 71 beats per minute, so it's 0.88 seconds. And I just try to keep putting with the beats.
We are starting putting a study here. That's why we have this large mat here.
Right.
And then we are comparing two different ways of practicing
Yeah.
the putting motion. One is tempo,
Yeah.
so using metronome, like a certain number of beats per minute, and then use that. And another one is called the motor phrase approach. So you're saying something.
Interesting.
You're saying a motor phrase, and then automatically your body motion will sync to the motor phrase. So we are working with the guys at Audio Golf, but
Cool.
so we'll come up with good motor phrases, and then so they will practice and compare which one is better.
Yeah.
We don't know yet,
You
but
haven't
so
seen
we
it.
got the mats and we have the putter, and we have some putt lab here, and we're ready to go.
Cool.
Yeah, so probably we'll start that collection maybe next semester. But so the same thing in full swing, the same thing. Instead of using a certain tempo, but you can say the motor phrase. But the content is really important instead of just the tempo here. So that means you can have initially slow motion, but you actually have to build the climax toward the end of the backswing.
Right.
So what we see here is that, so let me, these are the forces here. If you look, this is the forward backward force.
Yeah.
Okay? So green is the lead foot force, and the blue is the trail foot force here. So generally they will have a symmetric shape. So these are showing the opposite values here, also opposite here. Now overall the pattern looks normal, but your forward backward force is a lot smaller than man's average here.
Interesting.
Okay. Now, but at the same time, what we see here is that we have this symmetric pattern, and from here to here we have pretty much zero force. From here to here.
Right.
In the forward backward direction.
Right.
What that means is that this motion and this motion is separated. They are not well connected.
Interesting.
So it's not just a matter of time,
Right.
but also how you organize the motion so that you don't have this kind of wasted time here.
Interesting.
So when you start the motion here, up to this point, you're pushing the ground forward backward direction, and then create the initial rotation here.
Right.
But once you pass this point, then it's pretty much just lifting the arms and club here. That's why from here to here is quiet here. No forward backward force. You see, the arrows are just upright in this view here. So it's not inclining forward backward direction here. So when you start the backswing, we have a little bit of separation between the two arrows here in the lateral view here. So you have a forward backward component. But then once you go to this position here, then this is zero now here. And then pretty much you're lifting the arms and club here up to this point, and then starting again, all over again.
Right.
But if you better connect these two here, then the force will cross like this.
That makes sense.
Without this long period of zeros here.
Right. And would you usually see the force, would the magnitude of the force be greatest in the downswing then? Or would you get
So the force is always these peaks are greater here.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no question about that. But the thing is, the force has to cross
But
this way.
yeah, I see what you're saying.
What that means is that you have to have a climax toward the end of the backswing.
Right, and right
It's
now
the end
it's-
of the backswing here and then going into downswing. You have to connect that well instead of have a quick early action and then just lift the arms and club here and then try to start again.
Yeah, now I've broken that connection. This part of
So
my backswing.
you have to see the backswing as one piece motion here.
Right.
And then draw all the way and then build a good wind up here instead of quick turn here up to this point and just lift this.
And I guess that's where doing this, where as I get started, if there's almost this rock forward, and then if you rock forward, shift into the ball of foot,
And then, yeah,
and then turn, that's
if
gonna-
you want to continue this backswing, then you have to turn around the right leg here. That will give you continuous turn and build the climax here.
right,
But
rather than
if you have more force on this side here, then this is it. This lifting is all you can
right.
do.
But we've also talked about how I think when I saw you in May, we talked about how I needed to actually start shifting left
Yeah.
earlier.
The-
So how do you?
The shifting is naturally coming from the right leg action. When you push this and then automatically you have this.
Oh,
move.
I see. So it's turning around the
Yes,
right leg
yes.
actually is the shifting. That makes sense. So it's
Yeah, so what you see here is that
I see.
this is the lateral force, okay? This is the lateral force. So, toward the target or away from the target. Blue is the force acting on the trail side of this force here. So the blue becomes the maximum here, okay?
Yep.
Because it has the largest horizontal component here, this force here. But then this force decreases. You're losing this force here, all the way here.
Right.
But actually, this blue should be maximum, or it has to maintain this force pretty much.
Right.
It has to maintain this force.
And- right.
So this positive force means the force is acting toward the target.
Right.
Okay. And then in the downswing here, about here, so we have a peak here, okay? Between these, pretty much during the entire backswing, this force has to maintain here. That means you have to keep pushing the ground in the away direction so that the ground pushes your body toward the target.
Yes.
But what happens is, if you shift your body to the left side here, then no way to push the ground in this direction.
Right.
Only when your body moves away, from there you are introducing this motion. During this motion, you can keep pushing the ground and develop this motion here.
Right.
But if you go this way here, it's hard to
can't,
push
yeah.
because your leg is already extended here. Your body is already on this side here.
That makes
So you
sense.
cannot use your trail leg that way. Initially, having this peak is easy. Anyone can do this. Okay, you, me, anyone
Yeah.
can have that peak initially. When you turn, whether you're spinning or really loading onto a trail side,
Right.
you can do that. However, what happens after that? Whether you are maintaining the push and produce this motion versus you already go here, you need a quick turn here and then your body's already here, then
Right.
this is out of commission.
I see what you're saying.
So what I see here is after this push here, pretty much from here to here, you see the lateral force is decreasing here rather than maintaining. So that means that it's coming from your quick push initially. And also this is vertical force here. So the vertical force acting on the trail side is maximum here. But you see the difference quickly decreases. And now the two forces are equal to each other.
Right.
And then at the top of action, you have more force acting on the lead foot here. So this is a typical symptom of stack and tilt. When this happens, now your maximum force is a lot less than before. If this is close to elite man's average maximum here.
Right.
But you had a lot higher value.
But when it was at one point it was too high,
It was too high.
and so now it.
Yeah.
But now it could.
But
be
now
higher.
this discourages this. This is this has to be a bit higher. So it has to be 1.8 or 1.9 times your body weight.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I
right
think it was 2.2
right below
the
2,
first
but
time.
yeah, you were above 2.0. So although still this is close to men's average, but you need to actually more force here. In order to push well here, then you have to have a good push on this side.
That makes sense.
But the bottom line is generally you push here and then this lateral force decreases and then try to push again here.
Right.
So from here to here, you're losing that connection in terms of
Right.
kinetics.
Right.
Okay, so but anyways, center mass and then pelvis motion here. So now this is closed quite a bit from the beginning. It's closed quite a bit. And then, so you're turning the pelvis more than men's average. This is more than before because
Right.
you already started from the
Yeah.
closed position, and then you are shifting your body this way here, so it's easier to rotate around the left hip here,
Right.
and it gives it generally more rotation.
Right.
And then if I change the scale here, still you are not turning enough, in the leftward at impact here. This is men's average, but you're below. So you're turning right more, but not enough leftward here.
Which makes sense. Yeah.
Then what happens is you're putting a lot of effort in the follow through,
Right.
so your hands go way high up here. And the wrist marker goes this way.
Yes. Sorry about that. I'm working on it.
And then X factor, the magnitude seems similar. Yeah, it's a slight under elite man's average. And then, but it's essentially continuous, although the slope changes here, but it's continuously increasing. This posture is a bit too much. Let's go to the front view here. Hands are pretty high. Because you shifted everything this side here, then you have to hit hard with the muscles and you have exaggerated follow through motion. But if you activate this earlier here, using that right leg well, and then throw, then you don't have to put a lot of effort in the follow through.
Right.
So no need to have this kind of exaggerated motion.
Right.
And then kinematic sequence here. I don't know what happened here. This is the shoulders. And you're particularly today, I think your action in the follow through was pretty rigorous. But if you just look at timing here, the pelvis, thorax, shoulders, and then still we see the clustering of arms and club here.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see what happens. So at the top here, just letting the club go. When you have more force acting on the leader side at the beginning of the downswing, it's hard to use the body early and then go this.
Right. You kind of have to cast the club from.
If you have more force on this side here, then you can easily use this shallowing motion, natural shallowing motion here. But if you're already on this side here, this can't be done here. You have to bring the. You have to intentionally lay off the club head here.
Right.
Otherwise, you cannot have a good shallowing motion with the more force on the left side.
Yeah.
But if your most of the force is on the right side here, when you're pushing the ground well here, with this is possibly body motion. Bring this down here and then let it go. you're already here.
Right.
So what it would do is essentially just coming straight down here. So the pink line here, this is the wrist angular velocity. And then at the top, pretty much you are starting the uncocking here.
Oh.
Okay? And then still, although your club angular velocity is higher than man's average, but the contribution coming from the wrist is not much. So still, that means still you are rotating the body fast.
Right.
Instead of having good wrist motion.
Transferring that into
Yeah,
the club,
yeah. That's why it brings exaggerated motion in the follow through.
Right.
Because you have to turn fast
Right.
at the impact.
Right.
That speed will give
But like,
more
yeah.
motion.
Okay. But the core of this is ultimately that, like, because I've disconnected the backswing from the downswing, I just like I can't. Instead of having this motion where I'm here and then I'm like really holding on.
So
to
you
it,
have to
and
have
then
more
I can
force
let it
acting
go.
on the
Right.
trail side. With that, you can have active body motion
Right.
early on here.
Yeah.
And then delay the wrist motion here.
Right.
And then near the impact, let it go. But if you're on this side here, then you have to do this.
That makes sense.
And then try to use the muscles.
Understood.
So the size of backswing for the driver is now okay. It's not too much. You had a tendency of exaggerated the drop, last time. But so this is okay. Good slow down. But the problem is your pelvis is already on this side quite a bit. So you have more force acting on the lead side here. That's causing trouble here. This when you have a stack and tilt like a swing for short clubs, it may be okay because the main goal in the short club is not to maximize the distance, but rather you want to have a consistency there. So as the club gets shorter, it may be okay to have more stack and tilt type motion, particularly in the chip shots.
Yeah.
Okay? But when you have long clubs, then you have to have a good amount of force acting on the trail side throughout the backswing. So that at the beginning of the downswing, you can use the trail leg and start the downswing.
Right.
But here, this is a bit increased. The amount of force you're putting on the lead side, this gap is increased from the previous one.
Right. And so, that would, so why is it that with the longer club, it doesn't work? Like, what is it about the club getting longer?
Again, the whole purpose of the swing is in the longer clubs, you try to maximize the distance, particularly in driver.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
You want to go as far as possible,
Right.
right? But in the shorter ones, instead of increasing this distance, when I was a bit younger, my sandwich was 120 yards.
Yeah.
Everybody said it's too long. But for some reason, my ball went really high up, keep going up, and then drop. So I could hit the sandwich, 120 yards. But now my sandwich is about somewhere between 95 and 100.
Yeah.
So it decreased quite a bit. But in the short club, the main thing should be consistency.
Yeah, totally.
Instead of maximizing the distance.
Yeah, because
right
now, like I'm swinging my shorter irons and just my irons in general a lot faster, and especially with my long irons, I find once in a while I'll hit a little bit of a block, like once every round or two I'll hit one that's like, oh, that wasn't so good. But in general, like my irons are
but you have to be careful because the way I see is that you see less rotation, this direction in the downswing.
Yeah.
And then you have stack and tilt like motion, and then
Right.
more rotation of pelvis. You are essentially creating the environment for a block shot.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So one main problem.
Oh, and so as the club gets longer, eventually the club is long enough that I can't sink it.
You
up
cannot
anymore.
turn enough
Yeah,
this
I
way
can't turn.
here.
That
You're
makes sense.
turning
Okay.
more this way,
There
and
we
then your
go.
body is shifting this way too much, and then you are essentially turning around the lead leg here. Then you can easily create the environment for block shots.
That makes sense.
Yeah, one main symptom of stack and tilt swing is eventually you develop really bad block shots.
Yeah, well,
It goes to not the next fairway, but the second next fairway.
yeah, well, yeah, yeah.
So it's because you're turning too much
Yeah, 'cause
by
I find,
shifting toward the.
right. Because right now, like with my irons, like a long iron, I'll occasionally hit a block, but then it's um, with driver, like I'll either hit, like sometimes I'll hit a big block, and other times I'll hit one where it feels like I almost kind of, it actually feels like I don't turn through it, and then I just catch it on the toe and I hit it way left. And that, I can see how that would happen.
So more than anything, you should have a good control of the motion. That in order to do that, you have to use the legs.
Yes,
Because in order to control the body motion well, that you have to work with the ground.
yes,
Because the ground is the main source of force acting on your body, right?
right,
Then you should be able to use the legs to control the interaction.
right.
But then that means you have to have a good loading on both sides here.
Mm-hmm.
The best way to move in the golf swing is more like a stepping-like action here. So in the backswing, you load on the trail side, and in the downswing, you're loading on the lead side here. So essentially, this motion rather than
Right.
this motion, you have go this way and then swing, swing. So when you have a continuous swing back and forth, then you can easily feel this. When you do this, then you can immediately figure out that you are just using the lead foot only.
Right.
So it's this one here.
Yeah.
But when you have good rhythmic motion here, then we can repeat this forever.
Right.
Because both the legs are used in doing this.
Right.
So you're creating sort of, the situation where the possibility of block shot
Goes up.
is,
That makes
yeah,
sense.
is higher. But I want to see more involvement of the wrist at impact here.
Mm-hmm.
So about here, you see the club is already located quite far away from your body here. And then also, when you have this chicken wing type elbow position, that means you're letting the head go away from your body early. So otherwise, if you keep going dead, and then you'll have really bad fast shots.
Right.
Okay? Because the head is moving away from your body early. So in order to prevent that, you have to pull this in. Then you have impact here.
And so that's because I'm casting the club instead of
It's not really casting, but it's just simply early
early release.
release. So when you start here, from this side here, when you swing, then you let it go a bit farther away from your
And then
body.
you have to
And
shorten the
if
club.
you keep going, then you will have a really bad fast
Right,
shot.
that
So
makes
you have to
sense.
bring this in here.
Yeah.
So at impact, when you have tendency of doing this, that means you are letting the club head go away from early.
Okay, that really fits because with like long irons and like fairway woods, I'll like occasionally hit one just like really heavy. And you're like, why? Like it was just such a
Today I heard
and yet today there were
the
ones-
sound
there were a
when you
couple-
hit the ground hard. I
Yeah.
can hear the sound.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bit too much.
Yeah.
That's a fast shot here.
Yeah.
So that happens because you're letting it go away from your body early.
Right.
But if you keep it closer here, then what happens is you're now extending on this side here.
Right.
Good extension here, so you will be able to keep the
Right.
arms relatively
So-
straight.
We've talked a lot about connecting the backswing to the downswing. Early on, you said that the pattern of the time in my swing is looking a lot better. So, given that I'm not connecting the backswing to the downswing well, how am I able to keep the rhythm?
So the key is you have to build the sense of coiling your body toward the end here. So when you use momentum, let's say, the common practice that I use is the step drills. And then from the trigger, and then when you have an active backswing here, you can feel the coiling of the trunk muscles toward the end here. But if you quick motion and then you're just lifting this up here, then you don't feel that here.
Right.
And also, particularly when you turn your pelvis quite a bit here, that you don't really feel the tension in the
Interesting.
trunk.
Okay. Right. So you're like really trying to actually you're looking to build that feeling of tension because I think at times I almost do like I almost try to move in a way to feel like I have more range of motion, like and avoid that tension.
So you have to have a good balance between the range of, you have to use enough range of motion, obviously, but and also the range of motion of all the joints here, rather
Right.
than just only the upper body.
Right.
Okay, so it's bad to just lock this and then try to turn. Okay, but it's also bad if you turn this too much here,
Right.
that you don't have enough separation.
Right.
Surprisingly, with your height, over 2 meters, but your X factor was lower than men's average.
Right.
Generally, when your body is longer, it's easier to create more
Right.
separation between the shoulders and the hips. But in your case, the X factor was less than the men's average.
And so why? And that's because, but that's mostly because I'm generating so much hip turn.
Yeah, you're turning the hip
Yeah.
a bit more now, okay?
Yeah.
With the pelvis going this way here, and it's easier to turn.
Right.
So you have excessive pelvis turn here.
Right.
And then you have initial quick action, but then after that, you're just simply lifting the arms and club up here. So that does not give you the
There's no coil. There's no
the
X
condition
factor
for
there.
more
Right.
coiling here.
Right. Right.
So you have to have the feel of as you turn, you are creating this coiling in your trunk here, coiling here, and then build the climax toward the end. Then you have really connected transition here.
Right.
But if don't feel that tension in the trunk here, that means you're just turning your body here and then lifting the arms here.
Interesting.
So this backswing motion here, this backswing motion is called the spinning here. Spinning. When you have a spinning motion and it's just lifting the arms and club up here, then what happens is the ground reaction force becomes vertical, pointing upward. At this point, you should have more force on the tread side, so the center pressure should be here,
Right.
and it should show inclination here. The force should incline, but it stays upright. It says vertical here. That's a typical symptom of spinning motion here. So your body has early spinning, and then you're just lifting the arms and club up here. And then during this period, what happens is your center pressure stays in the middle here, and the force becomes vertical. So you don't have much momentum here. So up to this point, your momentum is not that long here. The only when this factor moves away from your center of mass later, when it moves away like this, then you have a long momentum here. But before that, during the backswing, it's pretty much the force pretty much stays upright here, and it's passing through the center mass, close to the center mass here. That means you have a spinning motion.
Right.
So up to this point, we don't see the difference. Well, still you can increase this difference, but up to this point, we don't see anything. This is typical here. But however, after that, this difference decreases. When that happens, you see the force arrow becomes vertical here, and then staying in the middle here. So you are essentially just spinning about the vertical axis here,
Right.
and then lifting the arms and club here. So that's why you have disconnect between earlier quick motion here and then later the downswing motion
Makes
here.
sense.
But when you have the image of turning, continuous turning, and particularly within the trunk here, keep turning here, then you really feel the tension in the trunk. That means these are also separated enough. You're creating this motion using the momentum here and the turn here. Then you have the climax toward the end of the backswing. Then you have a good connection between backswing and downswing. But if you have an early quick motion here and then lift it like this, then you don't build that tension here.
Yes.
You're just lifting the arms and club here.
Right.
So you lose the interaction with the ground.
That makes sense.
So the motion should be continuous. That's why you have to have a continuous motion and feel the flow,
Right.
instead of just hitting the ball here. When you have a continuous motion, with that, if you ride the rhythm here, as if you are riding a tide here. Right? So let it go, turn, and then throw, let it go, and then turn. And then make this motion as comfortable as possible here.
Right.
then you're using the momentum to generate this rotation,
Right.
this coiling here.
Yeah.
And then naturally you use the muscles better. So without putting much effort, you can generate enough motion.
Right.
The interesting thing is that the muscles have many contracting units.
Mm-hmm.
They are called the motor units.
Yep.
So within the muscle, we have many motor units. Then when you generate a certain amount of force, the question is whether you are using 10% of the motor units or 15% of the motor units for the same amount of force.
Right.
If you move the body well, have a good motion pattern, you can generate the same amount of force only activating the 10% of the motor unit.
Right.
But if the motion pattern is not right, so you cannot generate the favorable conditions, then what happens is that you have to activate the muscle 15% for the same amount of force. So when you feel easy in the motion, that does not mean you are relaxing, you are not generating enough force. But without activating the motor units that much, you can still generate similar amount of force. That's why you feel it's easier.
Right.
But because there's a certain required component in the motion, you have to swing and actively and then go back and forth. The speed is fast enough, right?
Right.
So the target goal is achieved here, but when you feel more comfortable, that means you are using your muscles more efficiently.
Right.
So the best is to repeat the swing back and forth and then feel the flow here. And if you feel you are turning this way too much, then you have to reduce this and add a bit more rotation here, and then develop good balanced motion. Just swing, swing, and then also make sure that you have a good extended arm here on this side. That means you have to keep this close to your body and then let it go here, extend, instead of coming this way.
Yes.
And then when you just try to hit the ball, you don't have this opportunity to adjust your body motion. So that's why you can have a visual target like a rubber T, but you have to use a lot of time to generate continuous motion.
Right.
And with that, you build this rhythm here, how you need to interact with the ground to make this happen.
Right.
You can go a bit faster, faster here, faster,
Right.
but then you learn how to interact with the ground.
Yes.
So you have to use a lot of time to work on the continuous swing motion.
Right.
That way you can really feel the flow and then adjust your motion pattern.
That makes sense.
But if you keep hitting the ball, no matter what you do, what you can do is very limited.
That makes sense.
So you'll stay within the same motion pattern. There'll be only minor changes.
Right.
So, but here, definitely you need to use the wrist more here.
Yes.
If you use your wrist more, then it can be a lot simpler. Okay, because without using exaggerated body motion, you can still easily let it go. And then when this increases, when the wrist angular, peak angular velocity increases, then this goes up. Because as you can see at impact, this is the main contributor to the club angular velocity.
Yeah.
So you need to increase the wrist angular velocity so this goes up.
Yeah.
Instead of turning the body really fast at impact. When you turn your body really fast at impact, then you have exaggerated the follow through here.
Right. But yeah, it's like you could increase your angular velocity of your pelvis 20%, and you're not actually increasing the angular velocity that many degrees. Whereas if your wrists go up 20%, it's huge carryover.
Depending on how you use your wrist, you can change completely.
Yeah.
So you have to delay the wrist motion. That means instead of letting it go early, then you have to keep the leg here and then have active motion through the impact.
Right.
But for that, you have to use the trail leg better.
Understood.
Because if you cannot move the body that well here, then you tend to use your arms at the beginning of downswing, right? Your body already shifted. And this is a bit too much turn. So generally, if you look at your body posture here, pelvis is shifted this way. Pelvis is more located toward the target.
Right.
This is the stance here, but then this is the center of the stance. Your pelvis is more shifted toward the target.
Right.
This has to be changed. And your upper body is kind of leaning away. But from there, So when you start here, then the pelvis is already slided here.
Mm-hmm.
Pelvis is already here. And then this is a good. This is a awkward chicken wing posture.
Yes, it is awkward. I agree.
So normally when you have good speed and then also you use wrist well, then at this position, when the club is aligned horizontally here, your hand should be in front of your right thigh here. So the hand should be about here.
Right.
But the hands are outside here
Yeah.
because you let the club head go away from your body early.
Right.
So you're here instead of here. So have the image of coming to this position here.
Right. That makes sense.
Or coming to this position and then let it go. Then you'll be able to keep the.
Well, I was going to say, looking at that, it's like if I would need just a bit more hinge in my wrist, and I would need my left arm straight from that. Like if I.
Yeah. So when you have more hinge here,
straighten my left.
Yeah, you can come
wrist,
here.
And then I just added a bit more wrist,
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
just instead of it being like kind of here, it's like I need a little bit more of this, and then the left arm straightens, and then that would be.
Yep.
The position you're talking about.
So when the hand goes in front of the body while the club aligns parallel to the ground, here then, by the time you reach the impact position, and then after that, you have well extended arm here.
Right. So the left
And
arm
then let it
bend
go.
is really a reaction to the way I release the club.
Yeah, you know by instinct that if you let the club go away from your body, and you keep going that way, then you have really bad fascia. So you have to bring this in.
Right.
Imagine the club is already away, so you're well extended here, then the only thing you can do is just pull this in.
That makes sense.
But if you have more leg here, you can control the club position by using this angle here, come here, and then let it go.
Right.
And by the time, when the hands are, so when you have more wrist cock here, by the time you have impact here, your hands are already moving upward. Even if your hands are your arms are well extended here at impact, but your hands are moving upward. So the club head is more moving horizontally.
Right.
With
Because that makes sense. The hands are moving up, but the wrists are releasing.
So by judging from your elbow position here, you're using your arms a lot, and you're letting it go early.
Right. Understood.
So, and then in the kinematic sequence, you see these peaks here. This pelvis angular velocity peak, this thorax and these shoulders, these are all happening before the midpoint of the backswing here. You need to delay this. So instead of having early quick turn here, initially you're just shifting the body here and create a more favorable condition, and then build the climax later here instead of have early quick motion here.
Understood. Yeah.
This early onset of peak angular velocities, that means you have a lot of time here, so you are gradually slowing down. That causes disconnect between the early backswing motion and the downswing motion. But if you delay these peaks here, so if the peaks occur about here, then you're almost accelerating and decelerating similarly, more symmetrically, because the peaks are located in the middle here. Then the arm peak will delay. So when you delay the onset of peak angular velocity of the body here, the trunk here, then the arms later and the club later. Then, so these red line, blue and green and blue shows the peak around here. Then gray reaches the peak about here. Then this line here, which is the club angular velocity, peaks later. So then you will see the shape of for example, the club angular velocity. It goes this way here, the peaks here, rapidly decreasing here. So that you have a good connection between the end of the backswing and the early part of downswing. But here, your quick rotation here and slow continuation of motion. That's why you have that long gap of 0 forward backward force. So again, the ground reaction force here. So you have a long phase of 0 here. This is because you have a quick early action, and then starting again here. But if you have a continuous motion, then the force crosses like this with the minimum phase of 0 force. And then this is the now, but still here what we see is still this push should be a bit more here. Okay, and then so that has to be from active push from the trail side. So let's go to this position here. And also timing is a bit early. This should be a bit the peak should be delayed here. So that's generally what we have is you have a quick early action here.
Right.
And then this difference should increase more here. So you have a more force acting on the trail side and less on the lead side here. So you have to have a good loading, but this is difficult because your pelvis is already shifted toward target. One way to see whether you are turning correctly or not is the direction the ground reaction force is going here. Normally, when you have a maximum push from the trail side, then this force arrow should pass through the hip joint in the front view. But it's going off. Your hip joint is here.
Right, I see.
And then the force is passing here.
Yeah, it makes sense. It should just go right back up.
So this is not a good way of pushing here.
Right, it makes sense.
So when you try to have a good push to the ground here, mainly using the leg, then in the frontal view, because you are leaning forward, so in the lateral view, it's not passing through the hip joint, but somewhere here. But in the frontal view, at least, you should go through the hip joint here, because you're using the leg and the push.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this one, you are pushing the ground in the wrong direction here.
Yeah, that's not.
Your leg is aligned this way here, but you're pushing so that the ground reaction force in this direction. It's because pelvis is moving too early to the target.
Right.
And then this difference should be increased, and then also the difference should be well maintained. So from this point on here, you're losing the difference.
Yes.
And then here, the two forces equal to each other. And then because you don't have much push here, you don't have much unweighting up to this point.
Right.
And you are just starting unweighting again here. So this is two-stage unweighting, essentially, instead of continuous unweighting. This part is the unweighting coming from the upward motion. When your body is moving upward overall, toward the end of the upward motion, you have unweighting. Because you initially pushed and then started this motion.
Right.
So toward the end of the upward motion, you have unweighting. When you start the downward motion, you also have unweighting there. So the first unweighting, this phase is coming from the upward motion. This unweighting is coming from the downward motion.
Right.
But when you go up and coming down, well connected, then these will continue here. But here the slope changes. That means the unweighting during the upward motion and then the unweighting during the downward motion, these are separated. Right. Yeah. So it's a two-stage unweighting motion here.
Understood.
And then you are intentionally unweighting here, and then you have a good push here. However, this is not well connected here. But this is always the sign of a bit hesitation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm understanding.
So up to this point, you don't have much momentum here. But after that, rapidly it's increasing by shifting the whole thing to the lead side here. However, so at the maximum unweighting here, the timing is okay still. It's at the top of action here. So timing is still okay. You have long momentum at this point, and then you have a good amount of torque here. The reason why you have fast rotation overall is because you still generate a good amount of torque here. Okay? But still, if you look at the forward-backward force here, these are less than the man's average here. This force gives you this rotation here. When you push the ground forward-backward, it gives you this torque.
Right.
It's called the pivoting torque. But you're taking advantage of your height because you're tall and you have wide stance here. You're taking advantage of that. So here, what I want to see is that more separation here and then maintain this difference all the way so that at top of action, you still have more force acting on the trail side.
Right.
So at top of action, about here, what I want to see is the force going from here, going this way.
Okay. Understood.
So if you look at the force here, the horizontal force from the trail side here, it peaks here. This is when you have a maximum vertical peak as well. So you're pushing the ground down and laterally at the same time. So this peak and this peak occurred at the same time, but this force should be maintained more or less throughout the swing, throughout the backswing. But you're losing that here because you're just spinning.
Right.
So you have to avoid this posture here. The pelvis is sticking out this way. So don't be afraid of shifting your pelvis away.
Right.
So at the beginning of the backswing, okay, you can start slow, but more focusing on the shifting motion here. And then after shift here, when you turn around the right leg, that you can really build the climax toward the end of the backswing. Rather, quick turn here. Okay. So that's the main challenge you have, how to feel comfortable with the good amount of shift away at the beginning of the backswing. So for that, you have to have a continuous swing back and forth. That's probably the best. Yeah. So then, the homework is how to eliminate this phase here,
Yes.
and then have better connected transition,
Right.
and then keep more force acting on the trail side in the horizontal direction here. So bring this up and maintain here, and then maintain the gap here all the way, and then still have more force acting on the trail side at top of action. So that's the challenge. And then so if you eliminate this angle here, okay, your thorax tends to align more upright, but because your abdomen is leaning away, so you are creating this angle here. But instead, just to keep the trunk upright. In order to keep the trunk upright here, stand on the right side,
Right.
going this way
Yeah.
instead of.
I see. Yeah. Yeah, because at times, like if I look at my swing from my face on video, at times you can just see how much my head falls. But it makes sense that if you stay on the right, like if you turn around the right leg
I
better.
think a good way to feel this is just to have a continuous swing back and forth and to feel the motion. So instead of when you go backward here and turning this way here, just to stand on the right side, the stand on the left side, stand on the right side.